All right. Welcome. Welcome to third grade. This is definitely a very different open house than we are used to. We usually have our whole classrooms filled with materials and things all over the place that you can see, all the manipulatives and everything else. So we're going to try to do it, try to explain how wonderful our world is in words rather than showing you things. I was just saying to, my name's Nancy Conroy, I'm sorry, and I am a veteran at Key. I have been at Key since 1980. I have two children who went all the way through from kindergarten all the way through to 12th grade, graduated, went to college, and now have two grandbabies. So I've seen Key School go through many different phases, never quite as drastic as the one that we're in right now, but I can honestly say I am so proud of the way Key School handles all different situations. And this one, as radical as it is, the kids are smiling, they're happy, we are working together, we're learning things that we never would have learned before. And our bond between our colleagues is greater than it's ever been. So, welcome. We have a team, and you guys can go ahead and introduce yourselves.
My name is Paula DeWitt, and I work right alongside with Nan, and this year with uh, Angela as well. This is my 10th year at Key School. I've been in third grade the whole time. So I've not been there since 1980, but I'm 10 years in the running, and we have four children. One who started Key School in fifth grade and went through graduation is now about to graduate college in the spring. So that's exciting. And I can tell you too that this year, especially, having the communication that we have with our peers and our coworkers and having flexibility 100% this year has been very a good quality attribute to have, because we as a school have been very flexible when dealing with COVID and everything that has entailed from that. But we are plugging along and our kids are happy. The third graders are truly excited to be in school via Zoom or in our rooms. So I think so far so good. So welcome. Good afternoon.
Hi, my name is Angela Baccala, and this is my 21st year working at Key School, but it is my first year as a third grade teacher. For the past 20 years, I've been the head of the library department at Key, and you may not have heard in the beginning of the open house, but we actually have three libraries on the campus and a wonderfully rich library program that I'm eager to get back to once we're through COVID. But I am very much enjoying working so closely with third graders this year and our wonderful third grade team.
And we're going to give you a little broad brush of what we do in third grade and our schedule. And Angela's going to share that.
So this is a typical schedule in the lower school. Our schedule looks a little bit different right now because of COVID, and we're kind of going back and forth, between being online and being in school. But this is what a typical day looks like in Key School. Starting out, third graders always start out with math. And music is a huge part of the curriculum, especially in the lower school at Key. Students have music 4 days a week in third grade. We have Maker Tech. As you met Carol in the previous segment, she works with third graders on Maker Tech. Normally would come visit me in the library, and that is very integrated with their language arts and social studies, and technology is part of that too. As I think it was Matthew was talking about in the beginning, our students are creating with technology. They're using it as a tool to express what they've learned in language arts and social studies. So it's all integrated in there. All students study French in the lower school. We have PE a couple of times a week. We have a wonderful, you met Amy, the science teacher. We have a wonderful amount of science. We include art. There's coding, so many different ways that students can access not just math, but applications of math in terms of coding and music. It's a wonderfully integrated curriculum. In third grade, one of the things that we start to focus on is the organizational skills of the students. They're starting to take an ownership of their time and what responsibilities they have. And so one of the things that we do with them is we work with a planner for them where they have to write down what they're supposed to accomplish that day. They work with their parents. Their parents sign off to make sure they've accomplished their task for the day, but it gives them some personal ownership instead of just adults chasing them down for assignments. It really becomes their work.
And these are our language arts units that throughout the year we work with the kids. And we have, as I said, an integrated curriculum with coding and Maker Tech. So throughout the year, Maker Tech and coding and science are all woven into, actually, I'd have to say, even art and music are woven in as well. And so our first unit this year was a brand new unit called Identity, Family, and Community. And we felt it was really important for the kids to, having been through, pulled out in March with the whole COVID distant learning, to not come back in and learn about the Southwest Indians. We wanted to really reach out to them and get them to look at their identity and then focus on their family and then develop community. And empathy is something that's so difficult to try to teach children. And this unit in and of itself has allowed the kids to really touch base with their feelings and others' feelings and the feelings of their families and develop a sense of empathy and sincerity and respect. So within the community of Key, that is our main goal anyway, but this unit was particularly strong. And following this this identity, family, and community, we go into a broader global scale with kids who are changing the world. And we are about to embark on that as we speak. Actually, on Monday, we're going to be jumping into that unit and learning about kids around the world who are doing things to save their environment and to protect their community and their space. And then we move into, in February, we move into our notable African American unit. And then we jump into a fun unit at the end of our medieval unit. So we pretty much cover within that, with throughout the year, kind of a different flow. And our units are involved with lots of activities and different things that all the kids can integrate into each unit. And these are our single plastic units, our African notable African American unit, and our medieval unit. And we do not have a Southwest unit. That should have been changed, sorry. All right, we're gonna go into math.
Okay, so just to kind of give you an idea of some of the math concepts that we cover in third grade, we really want the children to get a sense of numbers and just not looking at a 7 and knowing it's a 7, but what two numbers make up 7. Certainly we focus on that at the beginning of the year, and then we move into patterns and whole numbers. Then we will move into fractions and how they are related to decimals. We start off with place value concepts. We would start obviously with ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, up to millions. Then we would have computational proficiency. We teach them several mental strategies and algorithms, and we encourage them to think outside the box. If they have a solution to a problem, how many solutions were there? Were there two? Were there three? And that why and how did you get this answer, and how did you come up with that answer, all are a part of our daily math lessons at Key School. And then we have a unit on probability, the likelihood of events. In this particular slide, we do a unit, I think it's in the spring, March or April. We read a book called Big and Little, and they have to shrink themselves basically where 1 inch equals 8 inches. And they read about animals, and then they have to do the math and proportion themselves to the animal as if they would be their real height. So that's kind of a fun lesson that we do in the spring. And then we get into spatial reasoning. This specific picture is a picture for special math. So we have math 5 days a week. And then on Fridays, we have special math, where again, if it weren't for COVID, the kids switched to different classrooms. So Mrs. Conroy would have a math lesson going on Fridays, and then some of her kids would come into my room, some of my kids would go into her room. This specific picture is a lesson on coordinate geometry. They use ducks to find the coordinates on the math board, and then we have a fun project that goes along with coordinate geometry. And yeah, so I talked about Friday math. We also have Dreambox. Sorry, Nan.
Okay.
Dreambox is incorporated at least once a week, which is a very great online tool because it measures their pace as they go. So we tell parents, try not to intervene and help them too much, because it really does move with them, and it will bump them up when they're ready. And that's just kind of nice knowing as a teacher too, like where they're at, or who's having some holes in a concept that might need some work with. So that's a fun online math tool as well.
Angela, you wanted to take the science?
Well, I think everybody heard a little bit from Amy in the first part of our program, but we work really closely with Amy and Amy Klein, and also Carol Mahoney with Maker Tech, to make sure that whatever's happening in science and Maker really goes along with what we're doing in language arts. And so you can see, for example, like we might be thinking about community, we're also thinking about climate. We might be thinking about the medieval period in language arts, and we might be making a trebuchet in the simple machines unit. So it's a very integrated science program.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to stop my share because we do want to open up and leave some time for Q&A. So if you all have any questions, we would love to be able to field them for you. Does anybody have any questions? No questions?
Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, actually, we have lots of questions. One question is, they don't wear a uniform?
We do not have a uniform at Key School. No.
Is there any reason for it?
Yes, I mean, it's a way for the children to express their own individuality. We really want them to be who they are. And if we're telling them what to wear, that's really not who they are.
Okay. And another question about the language. You said only language availability, French for the 1st through the 5th, then Spanish, correct? Or do they do both elementary school?
No, they have.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's French based. And then I think it's 6th grade they can choose, correct, Angela?
Yeah, it's in middle school that they're able to choose, and then the variety of offerings open up even further in the high school.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, can you remind me how many hours a week?
French is 4 days a week.
4 days a week? Okay.
So it's in 3rd grade, it's about a 45-minute class period, 4 days a week.
Okay, so I do have a question about the religion. Is there any religion classes or religion taught in the school or not?
No, no, we're an independent school.
Independent school. Okay. And I do have a couple more questions, but I think it's related with the admin people, right? I can
For admissions.
for admission.
Okay. You can email them. I think, Kristen, that they said.
Yeah.
that-
I think they may be having, if I can remember, they may have been having a Q&A at the end, or you can email Makiba Barnes. Her email is mbarnes@.
Oh, I do have our information.
She'll answer all your questions about
Um,
admissions and testing.
One more thing is the 50% accepting rate is, what is the, because of the test, or why is 50%? Or
That's
would you be
probably an
able to
admissions question.
admission? Okay.
Yes.
I
How old
think-
is your little guy? Was that your son that was with you earlier?
Yeah, Oakland. Yes.
What grade is he? What grade is he in?
He's currently in second grade.
Second grade.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he'll be turning 8 years old in next month. So
Got it. All right.
Awesome.
Another question was the third grade. Is there any opening on third grade right now, or next year, or?
That's also an admissions question. They're the ones that really. that
I
really
can
get
tell
it.
you that we are not accepting any mid-year applicants right now in third.
That is, okay, it was another.
I
slide.
got in
Okay.
queries, but we just don't.
And one more thing is 1 through 4 in a different campus, and 5th through above is a different campus, or 1 through 5th?
So first and third are in one building, second and fourth are in another, but first K through 4, well, I'd say first through 4 is all generally in the same area of campus.
Okay.
The buildings are
Pre-K,
adjacent.
Kindergarten, yeah.
they're all on the same overall campus. Yeah.
Okay, I think that's it. Do you have anything?
I can't think of
Thank
anything.
you. We appreciate it.
Actually, I got
Thank
one
you.
real quick. Is there
Okay.
any bus service, or is it just pretty much students drop children off every day?
There's a bus that has pickup spots in a surrounding county,
Okay.
and there are carpools that families join.
Okay.
Can we ask, is there, from the public school, is there an extra curriculum or extra anything different? Can you ask?
Oh, yeah. So my wife is, I think she's just comparing like public school systems to Key School. I know you guys are talking about some of the differences. I guess like is there like anything that it's like it's really stands out, like this is really different than what's being taught in like Anne Arundel public schools?
I'd say everything, but that's.
Okay.
Okay.
How long do you have?
Like-
Do you have an hour and a half?
Yeah, it's very different.
Okay.
We're not handed down curriculum from a school board or from administration on high. We are educators that are actually developing the curriculum ourselves as a team, and we're able to do really forward thinking things and turn on a dime and pivot to what the kids need. We're not in that sort of rigid structure of public school.
Okay. All right. Thank
I
you.
mean, that's
we've
the
been-
big thing that stands out to me as
Sorry,
a
we don't.
parent and an educator.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. We'll mute now so the other parents can talk now. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Questions?
Yes, we do have a question. So, for kids entering the kids school that have not learned French before, going into third grade, how do you work with the kid to bring them up to the necessary
Or
level?
go
Yeah.
down the grade also.
Yeah, the French teachers are fantastic at working with new students if they need it. And I'll say that I think it's pretty reasonably quick that the students are able to become a full functioning part of that French class. It's very much oral. There's a lot of hands-on in terms of music and props, and the kids just really, pick it right up. But if a student needs help catching up, definitely the French teachers are there for that.
And this year I have 4 new children in my classroom, new to Key School, and they're all thriving. And we have sat in on more music classes than we have in the past this year because they're all in our rooms, right? So we get to hear firsthand every day what the music teachers are doing with the kids. And as Angela said, there's a lot of oral lessons. There's a lot of repetition, right? And that's, if anybody's ever done, any of the online learnings for a second language, it's repetition. And obviously the kids are young, so they're little sponges, they pick it up.
Can you say a little bit about the hybrid model that you're doing now? When did you start? Did you start in September or later in the semester?
Yeah,
And
that was how we started out the school year. Mhm.
Nan, do you want to field that one?
We were hybrid. We were hybrid for a little bit, and then we came back full school, and now we're shifting back again. So we're going back to phase A. So we've been in phase A, phase B, and phase C.
So you started the semester as hybrid teaching,
Hybrid.
and then
Started
you brought
hybrid.
everybody back.
We started hybrid, and then when did we go? Like only 2 weeks ago. We
Yeah, we
went,
only had
3 weeks ago.
3 weeks, yeah.
3 weeks
Uh-huh.
of everyday on-campus learning. We started hybrid, which is 1 day at home, 1 day at school, just alternating. And now we're going full distance learning on Wednesday.
Okay, thank
And
you.
it's all based on the numbers in the state.
Yes, I think
Yes.
that's my way. That's
Yeah.
my way to do it.
Yeah. So hopefully we can one day come back to at least hybrid very soon.
Again, this is where the flexibility piece comes in.
The year, 3 schedules already.
Hi, buddy.
I have a question. Good morning.
good morning.
Good
Hi.
morning, Zalika.
Yeah, it is. Good
How do you work with children coming from public schools where you know there's going to be gaps? Because I'm looking closer at the third grade curriculum and what's actually done, and there would be some gaps considering, and then even with the different teaching styles from children coming from a very traditional school setting where teacher talks, student writes, versus to where you are, what the school does now. How do you work with the students with their gaps?
That's a great question. We have a learning department that supports us. That's one of the means by which we use their resources. But we also individualize each, each of our kids' profiles. So we would definitely do some testing in the beginning of the year, which we do anyway, and we would look closely at their profile and be able to supplement and work to meet their needs. And it's happened multiple, as long as I've been teaching there, we've had lots of kids that have come in and haven't been exposed to everyday math or haven't had cursive or haven't, all of those things we address and make sure that we're supplementing and fulfilling their needs. And they do all catch up.
Well, and even while we're teaching, if we use a term, like I said, this year I have 4 new students to Key School, I'll say, hey, William, are you familiar with fact family triangles, right? Or did you call them something different at your old school? So a lot of times concepts will seem familiar to kids, but they're called something different, right? So we try to remember that to make connections with them, to make sure and again, a small class size helps, right? Because typically we won't have more than 16 or 17 in a class. So for 3rd grade, that's a good sized classroom. Yeah.
And we work individually with the kids, so we will have breakout sessions so that we can pull them aside and make sure that any of the concepts they're unfamiliar with, we can help them.
Mm-hmm. And we have a quiet time every day after recess from 12:45 to 1 o'clock, which doesn't seem like a lot of time, but that's a great time where we can have, maybe Ellie Young, our math coordinator, can come in and pull a couple kids, or the homeroom teachers can pull a few kids who just, maybe, bomb the homework. So clearly they are missing a concept and they're probably not the only ones. So it's a good time to pull a few back and work in the circle and touch base with them to see what holes they're missing, where they need some additional support.
Hi, this is Yinka Gardner. I do have a couple of questions, and thank you for the PowerPoint. It was very helpful. My first question is, what has to do with why I was interested in Key. One of the reasons was that you do teach a second language. My daughter goes to a private school now where that doesn't happen. I think that's just so important to have. So is the goal of, I guess, the teaching them French till 6th grade, is the goal that is that they will be very fluent in it? It'll be more like a second language kind of thing, or is it just to supplement learning? If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think it's really more an exposure to another language and being able to think that way and really access that language center of the brain. You know, once the students have that exposure to French, then when they see Spanish, a lot of the concepts are familiar, and it's just a way of thinking. I would not in any way say that going to French class for 4 years in the lower school is going to make a student fluent. My daughter went and took French all the way through Key School, all the way through AP French, and continued in college. So there are students that take advantage of that continuity, but it would take many years.
But I do have to say, they do have it 4 days a week. And I know, speaking from personal background, I had children at different schools throughout the years, my own children. And, you know, when you only have Spanish once a week and it's rotated through every 5 days,
Right.
my kids learned their prayers in Spanish, and I would say that's great, but that's about all they could speak in Spanish.
Exactly.
So I think just once a rotation every 5 days is not going to, you know, cut it.
Right. Right.
Um,
And then what happens in assembly? I saw that on the schedule.
oh, lots happens in assembly.
Oh,
Yeah, sometimes as the librarian, I've brought in illustrators of picture books or authors that might, you know, give a big assembly, but then also spend some time workshopping with students when they're there. Sometimes it is you know, various offerings from different grade levels, like at Thanksgiving, different grades might all share, you know, a poem or something that they've accomplished. And sometimes, Paula, do you want to say some more about some of the other like
Oh,
sort
well,
of
in school, I
educational
know,
acts?
yeah, the upper school dance team will come in, and oh my gosh, the little third graders have stars in their eyes. Like, I want to be that person when I grow up, you know? So the high school will bring in many of their talents to show the young ones. We hire outside people to come in and give performances as well. But we have assemblies every Friday last period, I think it is, of the week. So it's a kind of a fun way to end. It used to be Thursdays, and it got bumped to Fridays, which was just a super great way to end the week on a positive note, get us out of our classrooms, and we all go down and meet in the gym. It's just a great way to end the week.
yeah, I was thinking about some of the assemblies, and we've had people that have come in and done drone demonstrations. We've had the Maryland
Science,
Center.
yeah,
Exotic animals and things.
It's just it's very, very diverse. It's wonderful.
Okay. And then my last question is, so my husband and I, we've been, teaching our kids since they were younger to really participate in learning, ask questions, listen intently, make sure that you're a good classmate to others, things like that. And so can you just give me sort of a feel of how the classroom environment is in terms of that? Do you foster that? Do you encourage that? Do other kids take to that, or are they sort of kind of looking at the other kids of, oh, they're asking too many questions, or they're putting their hand up too much? Like, what is the environment like?
I would have to say it's very close. We are
Just say thank you for teaching your children that, because
yeah.
that's fostering a very well-rounded kid right there.
Yeah, I think it's definitely community. It's based on respect and responsibility, developing a sense of do unto others as you would do unto yourself. I think it's very much a family oriented, and making sure that the temperature in the room, everybody is working together to help each other and understand each other's differences and strengths, and respect.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, I'll add to that just from my observations in all the classrooms is it's really a lot, you'll see a lot of discussion and a lot of collaboration, and teachers are really good at gauging the pulse if they need to kind of encourage equity of voice. If someone is talking a little too much, they pull others in. I've seen intentionally pairing students to kind of balance each other's strengths and weaknesses. So it's very thoughtful and intentional, and it's really, really, really nice to watch.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, just a couple real quick questions. Any extracurricular like sporting activities that early on in third grade around that time frame?
You mean outside of PE?
Yeah, like I guess the extracurricular sports. Is anything available at that period? Is that like upper grade,
That would start at Key School, that
Middle.
would start in 5th grade.
5th grade? Okay.
There
Um,
are some after school offerings at times, like we might have a chess team or a Girl Scout troop that's meeting at school, or
Sure,
there
yeah.
are at times activities after school for
Okay.
students in non-COVID times anyway.
Right.
Okay, and music, any music classes in the curriculum?
We have a few teachers who teach piano
Okay.
and offer piano lessons after school.
Always.
Um,
We have strings too.
and strings. Yep, correct.
Okay. All right,
They can
Real
take
quick,
a string
school-
instrument in 3rd grade. Yeah.
okay. School lunch, is there a cafeteria or is there options?
They eat in our classroom. And we eat with them, right? So we're at our desk, they're at their seats. We have kids every day. They pick from the name jar and they get to eat with the teacher. So we rotate
Okay.
through that way. But
Okay.
we keep them in our classroom in the lower school. They all eat.
Lunches.
Well, this year during COVID, we're eating outside, even in the
Okay.
rain.
Yeah,
But,
it's a little different now, but I mean, there are,
Yeah, it's, you know what, we really have 15 minutes for lunch. So by the time we would walk down to the cafeteria and get back, we would have 5 minutes to eat by the time we got down there. And I have to say, it's just, I thought it was a little strange when I first started working there 10 years ago that the kids eat in the classroom. But now that I've been there, we're just a little cozy family.
Right,
We kind of
okay.
stick together.
There is we do have a cafeteria, Eagle's Nest, that the middle school and upper school go to. And there's food that's provided for them, and they sit in the, what's it called? Catherine Hall, and eat.
Okay, all right,
And
but
certainly if your child forgets their lunch, we have supplements down in the office that we can give
okay, so
the kids if they forget their lunch. Or
gotcha.
a few years ago, actually, a family started a small business of delivering lunches to kids, but I don't think that is happening anymore.
Okay, all right, and then the real quick, the last question, any type of homework, so once they leave, in class, are they sent homework certain days of the week, or is it all just done in class?
In 3rd grade, I think it was Angela that was describing the plan book. In 3rd grade, we have we have them reading at least 15 minutes a night, so they have to record that in their plan book. Most kids are reading more. They will have a page of math a night, and they will have a page of their spelling book a night. So in total, we're talking maybe 30 minutes, 40 minutes max that it should take them to do their work, which I think if you pulse that from 1st grade, it's usually 10 minutes per grade. So in 3rd grade, you're up to about 30 minutes-ish. There again, it could take them longer or not as long, depending on how many interruptions they
it
have.
depends on how focused they are,
Yeah,
and,
sure.
and third grade's a good
Yeah.
opportunity to work with them on how do you initiate a task, how do you start it, how do you finish it, how do you move
Correct.
on. So.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, and I know a lot of public schools now with COVID, they're issuing Chromebooks to all the students. Do you guys issue any computer hardware to all the students
Yeah.
at Key School?
They all have their own iPads.
iPad.
So
iPad,
they
okay.
belong to Key School, but the kids take them home.
Okay.
And that's where they do most of their work on their iPad. I mean, we have pencil paper work as well. So we all think that's really important too, to have the dexterity and to have the coordination. Yeah, I just dropped my pencil. But the fine motor skills is also very important. It's tricky sometimes working all on a device where you're typing. But yeah, it's a mix of iPad work and pencil paper, which I think is good for 3rd grade.
In Maker Tech, they do use Chromebooks.
Yep. Oh, that's right, they do, but they won't be taking those home.
Yeah.
I don't think so, yeah.
Mm-mm.
Okay,
If
thank
I
you.
may, oh, sorry. If I may ask a question.
Sure.
So I'm curious in when you go fully remote, how what's the schedule gonna be like? Is how different is it gonna be from your regular schedule? And can you please share your thoughts on the screen time the students will have
Yeah.
for their remote learning? Thank you.
We're moving into an online schedule, and while we try to replicate the school day as much as possible, obviously being online is not the same, and we do try to vary what the students are doing so that they're not on the screen all day. So for example, they might have Zoom with us in the morning for a morning meeting and for a math lesson, and then they get a break, so that they're not on the screen. And then maybe they go and they do an activity that's not on the screen as a PE activity. And then they might come back and do a language arts lesson with us, and then again get a break. And then maybe in the afternoon, they might have independent work that they're working on with pencil and paper, or we might have Zoom breakout sessions so we can do some enrichment or remediation, some focused work with certain students. So we are trying to do as much as possible in terms of a balance between synchronous and asynchronous written work and work on the iPad.
I would say the content is the same. It's just being taught in a different way, right? Like we're not skipping anything that we've done and not doing it this year. It's just it's getting done in nips and pieces. But I would say the most we have a child on the screen is about an hour, and at the tops, and then we will take a 10-minute bio break so they can get up and get a snack and walk around or do some jumping jacks. Then we get them back on. So the kids unbelievably have been so great with, probably better than the teachers. They are just rolling with it, and they've become little techies as well, right? Like they are, yeah. So it's been different, but it's been pleasantly surprising being able to still teach our content. We're just in an outside the box way, right? It's just different the way it's approached.
So there's a
I'm gonna-
question about
Yeah,
cursive.
cursive.
Oh, cursive?
Yep. Do you want me to field it?
Yeah, go ahead.
We have cursive once a week, up until January. And then we switch over after they've been introduced to all of the letters and have practiced the cursive capital letters and the lowercase. And we switch to total cursive. The kids write completely in cursive, other than math, but in language arts, the emphasis is on writing in cursive. Now, this year, it may be a little different. I don't know. But normally, after Christmas, after the winter break, the kids are writing everything in cursive. And it's amazing because some of the kids that have trouble with their printing and their manuscript end up having beautiful cursive. And it's kind of one of those badges that they earn, and they feel really proud of themselves, and their quality of their work improves as well. Any other questions?
I'm sure if you have questions later that Tom and Makiba and people in admissions can help you out, or feel free to reach out to others.
Well, thank you very much for coming, and we appreciate your time and hope to see you, all of your kids, in third grade next year.
Yeah, thanks for coming on this sunny afternoon. Hopefully everybody gets out and gets some fresh air. It's beautiful outside.
Take care.
All right,
Thank
bye-bye.
you.
Appreciate it.